Kennedy's last 5 games in basically every statistical category are certainly her best, not just of the season, probably for her career. Beyond the obvious, is there something that's beginning to click at a greater rate now? Is there something that's just working differently these last few weeks where she's filling out the box score, like I say, in just greater ways than she ever has?
I mean, looking at everything that we do, everything's the same. I think, each person, all the coach can do is do our best to create an environment for everybody to grow. That's what you want. Put the right people in the room and make it a great place to be, and challenge without breaking, and see how people respond to that. And, make adjustments as you go and based off feel. And then when they want it, great things happen. And with her, I think there's a will to win and a will to be great that is uncommon. It is a lifelong journey to get to the point that she's on. She's been a highly competitive athlete her entire life. And now she has this opportunity, that is the same, I guess, as it's been, but now she just has so much wisdom and experience. And so you're seeing a player truly master and understand what they're doing and feel great at the same time. And that person doesn't have a limit on effort, and I think I just think everything's hitting at the same time. And, probably the evolution of the team is helping because people understand her game and how to play with her and off of her. So, yeah, it's amazing to watch.
Coach Rueck, Kennedy is the third member of your roster to win the Player of the Week. What does that say about your team?
Yeah, depth, talent, and winning. Typically you get those when you win, and so success. But people playing to their potential, and when you have more than one or two, that's a great thing. And so who can be 4?
Allie Schimmel, I watched the replay, 45 minutes. I mean, you've seen a lot of players play defense. How would you rate her defense in the Gonzaga game?
Yeah, elite. I think just like we were talking about with Kennedy, a level of a will to win, understanding what her role is and being sacrificial. Where there wasn't a limit on how long or hard she was going to go. If it were 5 more minutes, nothing would have changed. If it was 5 after that, nothing would have changed. She would have just kept it up, and so a true competitor, understanding what her team needed and therefore being willing to give it and succeeding because of it. Yeah, it was epic. We saw a few or a bunch of incredible defensive performances the other night, even though there were a lot of points on the board. That was kind of the amazing thing about that game.
You talked on Thursday about how sometimes there are just games that just feel like it's the right time at the right moment that can kind of propel a team forward for the rest of the season. How do you feel like not only last Thursday's game against Gonzaga was one of those moments, but even maybe before that against Pepperdine, how do you feel like these last 2 games can maybe set the tone and the standard for what you guys can do throughout the rest of the season and potentially into the postseason? Yeah,
I think those are 2 really gritty, tough wins where we faced a ton of adversity in both of them, overcame that, and that just gives you this confidence, that we can kind of overcome whatever's in front of us, and we had a lot of different people step up in huge and unique ways, to make it happen. And so a sign of great things. And so great leadership has to be in place, and then I've said will to win since day one with this group. We saw it right off the bat with the Illinois game. You saw an incredible will to win from this team, and that's always been there. And so we just saw it again. And in this league, it's weird how many close games there are. And so you just kind of accept that. I guess it's going to be that way, no matter how well or bad we play. Somehow it's going to be close at the end, and we're going to have to find a way. And then you just develop the skill set in order to come through in those moments.
What did you like the most, you feel like, from that Gonzaga game? Because I know when you're seeing, right, the defensive effort, that's great, but I think what really stood out to me was just the ability for everybody to find their moments in that game. You had Jenna, you had Kennedy, you had Al, you had so many different people where it felt like when you guys needed a bucket or a defensive stand, they found that for that. What did that mean to kind of see that it felt like everybody was able to chip in?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that is what I liked, the most. It was a true team win. Kennedy had the crazy week, got the awards at the end of the week that were absolutely well-deserved. Crazy numbers of productivity, if you include everything that she did in that game. But everybody had their moments. I think it was Lizzy's best game. Overall, she was just so impactful for us on both ends of the floor. Allie hit huge shots. And, if you were to say Allie Schimmel was going to outscore Allie Turner 15-5, you'd probably say Oregon State wins by 20. But it didn't happen that way. But still, for us to win like we did, Allie had to step up offensively at a different level. And so I think we learned a lot about ourselves in that game, how aggressive everybody can be offensively, which should make us better. But it was a great team win. Everybody stepped up, and that's a sign of great things. And I want that to continue to develop. I think our depth, can still develop, and it needs to, honestly, for the rest of the year.
What value or meaning, Scott, do you put on for Kennedy to be here when she was the lone one on this roster who was here 2 years ago? Like what, and being the one to have endured that, when people talk about things like culture, and maintaining that, what value or meaning do you place on that for the tangible and the intangible of what that means?
That's an awesome question. I think it's the thing that's kind of missing right now in sports a little bit, in college sports. I think it's what everybody's mourning just a little bit, is that it seems so transactional. And I don't believe that it actually is as transactional, if you do it correctly, as a lot, like it might seem. Certain sports might be different. I don't know. But the way we do it, if we have somebody here for just 1 year, I'm committed to making that like the best year of their life. And that is a true relationship, and we're pouring into that person for, if it's 9 months, you're going to get everything we have for 9 months. And hopefully, that will last, and they'll learn things and be a better human for it. And certainly we will be too. And so I don't ever want to be, even if it's short, it doesn't have to be transactional. Well, what's really missing is a deep level of trust, I think, that makes this whole thing so worth it. This weekend we have, all but 4 of our Final Four team going to be back in town. The most special time that you can possibly imagine, and how cool is that they want to come back, get to come back. Certainly they were here a couple years ago to go into the Hall of Fame. But for me, that's what this is all about. That's what makes it amazing. Well, in Kennedy's story, back to your question, in Kennedy's story, there's a level of trust that is only earned through reps and through time together. And so why she's doing what she's doing, yes, huge effort from her, but also she believes in what we're doing. At her core, you can see it, you can feel it, and when your leader, who has the ball in her hands the whole time, has that depth of relationship and depth of trust with the staff, with the place, with the vision and the mission, she's going to play with a level of conviction that is hard to achieve otherwise.
And you have to be where your feet are, obviously, and there's still a lot of season to go. But when someone is beginning to achieve and meet the potential that's there, because of what y'all did experience 2 years ago, when does the mind have to get to, like, what the goal is also retention in the long run for her beyond this season? When do you have to start, your staff, have to start thinking about that even while games are still to be played this season? Or do you wait until the offseason for those conversations? Can you wait in this time and era, in this transactional world we are now in?
Yeah.
Can you afford to wait until April to have that conversation?
Right. I don't know. I think you have to just be aware. I think open lines of communication solve every issue. I think that's the answer to that. I don't know if you can force things, and I have learned through all the weird transitions that have happened, since the spring of 2020, when obviously our whole world changed, that it's not my job to convince somebody to be somewhere that they don't want to be. It's to make plays within reality and make decisions within reality. And I'm not somebody that manipulates. I don't want to. I don't like it. I don't think it's healthy. And so if there were a situation where something like that were to happen, and it has previously, what can you do? I just want the people that want to be here, So if that's the case, then great. If not, next play.
Hey, Scott.
Hey, Steve.
Talking about the 2016 team, how nice is it to have them back. What does that team mean for you when you think back? It's been a decade, but you were just starting to try and build something here. Looking back at them, that success, how much has that team helped you to continue the success, and then what you've been able to do, rebuild and try to rebuild again?
Well, we have 2 people sitting in the back right now that are about ready to come up here, that are probably sick of watching them. We reflect on those days all the time, and that team did everything right, even though we weren't perfect. But they did everything right. They took care of each other. They competed like crazy. They were just a microcosm of what this program is supposed to be, what my vision is. They bought into it. Obviously, we were so fortunate to have such amazing people in the Northwest, and slightly beyond, interested in what we were doing. Amazing staff, of course, and everything just came together. We had amazing administration, that shared my vision and supported it, that allowed us to dream and be creative with the way we went about things that I thought made Oregon State stand out. So you looking back, you don't remember anything that wasn't perfect. You just remember it was this magical time. And what was crazy was that team didn't sell out Gill. That team didn't fill Gill. The next year did. And so it reminded me how long it took, to build maybe the trust in our fan base even to come out the way they finally ended up coming out to support us. So that was an anything is possible group of people that just said it's us against the world, and we're going to dominate. And 3 years and 48-6 in the pack, I think our record was over those 3 seasons, including the next one. And it was a level of domination that was incredible, against all odds. And so that validates and validated what we've done, and validates to this day what's possible here. And so that team created opportunities for many others to come be a part of it, and will into the future, and still have, and so people look at us and they're like, oh, I want to be the next Wisner, and then that turned into Cat Tudor, and then that turned into, Pivic, and on you go, to this day. And so, yeah, fun to think about.
Anybody else? All right, thank you, Scott.
You bet. Go Beavs. Good questions, you guys. Be safe in the ice.
Make sure you defrost your car before you start driving.
Okay.
I'm not speaking for Guess I'll say which one. The seat's nice and warm.
All right, you guys good?
Yeah. Sure.
And you guys have just been on the road a lot. Just like, how has you guys kind of handled the travel to kind of start the conference season? How is that maybe affecting kind of your team's health and just your recovery? And how excited are you just to kind of be back at home this week?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a lot with all the travel. I think both of us are pretty seasoned in it, but
It's definitely been long road trips and long times away, so I think we're just so excited to be home, and just even that atmosphere from the game Thursday just showed us why we're so excited to be here, and Gil is so much fun, and the support from the fans really means everything. Helps us a lot.
Yeah, same with me. I think it has been nice, being able to charter back home. That's such a blessing. But yeah, I personally have been battling some sickness, which is hard, but it's also just cold. So, yeah, but I mean, we're so happy to be back in Gil. Obviously, yeah, the game Thursday was amazing atmosphere. The most fans we've had all year. Yeah, it was amazing.
Jenna, there's been some times this team has been, mentally tested you. I just think specifically against Gonzaga this past week where there were a couple of free throws that you missed, and I could just see the visible frustration on your face. But despite that, in overtime, right, you had more opportunities to go to the line, and you knocked them down. Allie does the same thing, misses 2 in overtime, gets another opportunity, and makes them both. How mentally tough do you feel like this group of women is with this program, considering, the adversity you had to do to overcome Pepperdine, and now another situation where you had a moment where you could have faltered mentally, and you guys rallied to the challenge?
Yeah, I think definitely over this whole season we've grown in that area. Yeah, obviously it was a frustrating moment for me, but when Lizzy and Ken were out, I was like, yeah, I need to win this for them. And I think that is most of our team's mindset, is just we have to win this for each other, play Beaver basketball, and just win this as a team, as a family.
And Lizzy, for you, obviously, when Coach says he believes you felt like you had your best game against Gonzaga, and it felt like really everybody was stepping into the moment that they needed to when the ball was coming their way. What does that kind of say about this team when you guys are gelling and clicking on all cylinders, that you can have a performance like that where it feels like no matter who you're facing, if someone has the rock, there's a chance you guys can win this game?
For sure. For sure. I think when we gel defensively, we're pretty unstoppable. I think that when we just get those connections on those rotations, you can kind of feel everything clicking, and it feels really cool to be out there. We kind of have been talking about it and working on how we can get that going for 40 minutes and not just when the game's on the line. And just going back to what Jenna was saying about how winning it for each other and playing for our teammates, and also having full trust in each other. Like Jenna, I never had any doubt her going up to the line, and same with Allie. Even though they might have missed a couple in the game, I'm just always like, yeah, they got us. So, yeah.
Hey, guys, can you describe your thoughts about Kennedy Schuler's performance, the fact that she's the third member of the roster to get the Player of the Week? Let's begin with you, Jenna.
I mean, yeah, she's just so tough, just so poised in everything she does. I look up to her so much as a leader and just as my teammate, but same with what Lizzy was saying, I just always know she's going to get it done for us and just do everything in her power to win games for us.
Yeah, just so much heart, works so hard, and just really messes with them up the top on defense, and that's so helpful in that zone, because I know that those rotations are a lot, and so I love when, she makes my job easy down low, and she gets it done, and then I don't really have to worry about it. So, but no, always just comes out and plays so hard, and is, I would hate to have to play against her with her being my defender, if that makes sense.
You guys talk about, hey, Gil, I mean, it's a great place to play, great atmosphere, but that game kind of took it to another level with a big-time opponent and a huge game and a big overtime win. What about that atmosphere, what it means to you both?
I mean, it's so huge. Just having, I get chills when I'm on the court and I just hear all the fans having our back. Yeah, it's just an amazing atmosphere, and I've never been a part of it, and it just really makes it feel like home.
It's so fun. It's so awesome. Yeah, it's just great to be here.
Jen, is there one statistic or something that Kennedy's been doing lately that either stands out most to you, or an increase in assists? Well, some of you have to make shots, obviously, for that to happen, and you've been doing that. But is there any one that is most impressive to you? Because she's up across the board these last 5 games. So is there one that stands out most or means the most to you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously she just fills the whole stat sheet, which is just amazing. She's insane. But I think her steals, she just can anticipate so well and just read the defense, read their eyes, and just make plays. And that's just so impressive.
Kind of speaking on Kennedy, you two get to practice, obviously, against her, week in and week out. Coach, I recall him talking about Thursday how sometimes he has to reel her back because she's too intense. Can you kind of speak to what Kennedy is like in practice, and what it's like seeing maybe that intensity, and maybe what it's like just maybe having to Maybe tell her like it's practice or anything like that.
Oh, no, we love her intensity. I don't think I've ever told her to stop. She keeps it pushing for us in practice and just sets the tone every day. And we need someone like that. I mean, that's her job. She takes really big pride in that. And yeah, she's just a great leader in practice, in games, wherever.
Yeah, she always goes 100% for sure, is always motivating us. Like when she feels the energy drop, she's like, okay, come on, like let's go. This shouldn't be happening, or, you know. So yeah, we love it. It's great for us. And that's kind of Scott's job to reel it back. I'm never going to tell her to calm down, you know.
For each of you, you know, Scott kind of mentioned about this, that the 2016 team, and I'm just wondering, you know, in the time that you've been here, what have you learned, what have you heard about that squad, especially when you have two players that were on that, and what does it mean to have kind of those mentors and those people that were there in a moment like that to be coaching you and teaching you and hopefully trying to get you guys back to a spot where you can get to the Final Four?
Yeah. As Scott says, we watch them a lot in the film. There's just so much to learn, and Coach Sid and Coach Devin have so much wisdom, and obviously the whole staff that was there as well when they went to the Final Four. So just really listening to what they have to say and watching the film and learning from their rights and also their wrongs, and kind of, you know, using that to tweak our game as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's just so cool to have coaches that you can trust. They know exactly what they're talking about. They've been there, done that. That's exactly where we want to be. And I think it's just really cool to have role models like that. Obviously, we watch them in film all the time, but I mean, just being able to hear what they have to say in practice and be able to take that and use it in our own games is really cool.
Anybody else? All right. Thanks, Sean. Thanks.
Thank you. Go Beavs.